hurt is our reaction to what someone has done. So there's two pieces to this. The first is, yes, no one can hurt us. People can say whatever they say, they can do whatever they do, but they can't actually manufacture pain inside of us. Only we do that. In the same way that they can't manufacture love inside of us. Right? I mean, have you ever tried to make someone love you? Unsuccessfully, right? I mean, you can do all you want. You can bring all the flowers, bring all the chocolate, sing all the songs, but ultimately you cannot actually make someone love you until they decide to start manufacturing love for you inside. Same thing with anger and pain. You know, it's like the guards, right, at Buckingham Palace, the guards right at the gates. So when I was young and we first went to visit London, if you haven't been there and seen this, it's actually a very fun, interesting phenomenon. So the guards at the gates of the palace, for some very traditionally British reason, are not actually allowed to make any facial gestures at all or react at all. And what you see are all sorts of people come up there and try to get these guys to laugh, to smile, to do something, and you never can. And I remember being very young and my parents taking me there, and you know, we just stood around and watched, but you literally would see people trying to get these guards to react in some way. So the point being, they are very well trained, but ultimately the success of their job depends on them not reacting to anything. Now, that's the first part. So on a serious note, absolutely that's what I'm saying. No one can hurt us. Our reaction to what has happened is the cause of pain. However, the second part of that is also very important. We are energetic beings. We are connected to each other, not just to our loved ones, but we are actually connected to all of creation. And what that means is that actually every single thing we do has an impact on the world around us, including even your thoughts. We now have machines that can measure your thoughts from inches outside your head. Not touching your head, that machine can measure brain activity, brain waves. They used to be able to do it only with actually touching the head. There's now a way to do that with a machine that's a few inches outside the head, which means our thoughts are things. They exist in the world. Our words are things. At the bare minimum, they are sound waves. And if you've ever sat in a rock concert where the bass was up a little too high, you feel physically in your body the impact of that music. You could be sitting in the top, the top of the balcony, far away from the bass. But literally those sound waves create a vibration in the physical body that you feel it. Create a high frequency enough sound, it'll shatter a glass across the room. Sound waves are energy on even the most purely physical level. And so when people speak to us in tones that are hurtful, we feel it, literally, in our bodies. We feel it in the energy of our bodies. They've done these studies with animals where you take a dog and you say to the dog, "You are a fantastic, wonderful dog. You are the best dog in the whole world." And the dog's going to go, and it'll cower and crawl away. And you could say, "You are such a horrible animal. I'm going to kill you tonight." And the dog will go, and it comes up and its tail's wagging. It's all about the tone. It's not that the dog understands the language, obviously, but it got the tone. It got the tone. So, before we even get to the power of words, the power of sound is such that if someone yells at us, someone speaks to us in a tone, in a volume, it actually energetically impacts us. We feel it in our body the same way that a wine glass shatters with a high frequency tone, the same way that a bass that's turned up too high causes a vibration in our bodies. And then, of course, the words. It's not the words themselves, it's the energy behind them. What we do, what we speak, how we act, how we live, has a ripple impact. And obviously that ripple is going to be strongest, closest to us. So you drop a rock in a body of water, the waves are going to be highest right near where it was dropped. Yeah, it'll still have an impact a mile away, but not nearly as much. And so the impact upon our loved ones of what we say and what we do is absolutely there. So that's the other part. They can't actually hurt us, as in reach inside of us and turn on our adrenal glands. But we are energy. And what they have spoken, what they have done, is energy. The door they've slammed, the tense silence in the room, the energy of love that they have pulled away, that withdrawal of energy, we feel it. Just like you feel love, you feel a withdrawal of love. We feel it energetically, and we respond. So that's the other part that's also very important, and they coexist. And the coexistences of these seeming paradoxes is really where our spiritual life gets very full, is with the awareness that it's not either or, it's both. Yes, no one can hurt us. And yes, we are energetic beings, impacted by and impacting all of those around us. To prevent that reaction, as he said, so what to do then? We do react. First, number one, where we began, introspect either on your own or with the help of a trained professional, depending on the situation, why you react to certain things. Because we all tend to react more strongly to certain things than others. And if you find that there's one particular thing that you just can't get over, that you've really gotten over all other aspects of your anger and your pain, but there's just this one thing that you cannot, for whatever reason, it's really helpful to understand what that is and why. And then we let it go, as we began. So that's one. The second is in our practice of our spiritual practice and our practice of meditation, regardless of the technique of meditation we use, one of the things that meditation gives us all the time is awareness. The ability to be a witness. Whether I'm witnessing my breath, whether I'm witnessing my thoughts, whether I'm witnessing my experience, whether I'm witnessing the truth of my being as the infinite soul. I'm witnessing. And then I notice my mind has gone, a thought has come, I bring it back. And in that witnessing, in that habit that develops of witnessing, suddenly I'm able to witness. I'm starting to get really angry. Not in my meditation, of course, but in my life. But that which I've learned in meditation stays with me. The difference between meditation and, just physical stretching exercises is it lasts as long as you're doing it. If you're just working with the body, it lasts as long as you keep doing it. With meditation, it has created what we call a sanskara, an impression in me. I have the ability not to go with my thought. Thought has come, but I've brought it back rather than me running away with it. And when that happens, when I develop that ability, then whether it's anger coming or pain coming, I'm able to see it, literally. That really made me mad. And I can see it far enough away that I have the ability to not react. It's coming, anger's there, and I'm going to just sit this one through. So the anger comes, seeing it does not always make it dissolve, unfortunately, but it gives me the time to get myself seated, to close my eyes, so that as that anger comes, it builds, it builds, it builds, it builds. As the pain comes, it builds, it builds, it builds. It peaks. And like any wave in the ocean, it crashes and subsides. Because emotions are waves, that's all they are. They're a pattern of electrical and chemical behavior in our brain that's very intense for a while and then it subsides. And so we sit through it. And the last tool is when we talk about being energetic beings. Well, there's two aspects of that. There's receiving and there's transmitting. And I'm hurt when I'm sitting here as an energetic receiver. I'm in receiving mode. You've done something that has hurt me. I've received it. I'm in pain. But if I know I'm going to walk into a situation that's going to be difficult, or this particular conversation is starting to be a situation that is difficult, or I'm about to see something that I kind of know is going to be difficult, it's likely this is going to make me angry or give me pain, I consciously switch my internal switch from receiving to transmitting. Now, obviously, on the deepest level, we're doing both all the time. It's not that we actually stop receiving and actually only transmit. But my awareness and my focus has shifted from being a receiver to being a transmitter. So I'm going to walk into this situation an energetic transmitter rather than an energetic receiver. And it's a preparatory technique that enables me to be focused on what I'm giving to the situation rather than what I'm getting from the situation. And that becomes a powerful, very, very powerful tool, is rather than focusing on what the situation is doing to me, focus on what am I doing to the situation. How can I keep giving love? It may not change the other person, but at least I'm creating my own world. You know, it's like the way wetsuits work, right? You go into the water. Well, a wetsuit allows in a tiny amount of water. It's not a dry suit, it's a wetsuit. It allows in a tiny amount of water that your body heat warms. So now you go in the ocean where it's cold, but you're surrounded by this very thin layer of really warm water. You haven't changed the ocean, but you've created a situation where you can live in the ocean and be warm. And in the same way, you may not change the guy yelling at you. You may not change the person from doing what they're doing that's making you angry. But you at least can change your energetic environment into being one of love.